One thing that stays pretty consistent across the world of art is that creative people don't want to be put in a box. You're Garth Brooks, famous country singer. You can never become goth and mysterious. Today we will be talking about alter egos in music. No matter the time period, genre, or whatever third category you might want to bring to the table, musicians have been utilizing the alter ego in various ways to further express themselves to the world. It can be as drastic as the previous example, or something very simple, like Donald Glover wanting a stage name for his rap career, but continuing to use his real name for acting, comedy, and all-around celebrity domination. I've got a big list of famous people and all the weird cosplaying they've done over the years, so let's take it chapter by chapter, giving numerous examples of this phenomenon and explaining how using a different name or style might impact the person's career for better or worse. Starting things off, we have the group of basically nothing is changing. This is the spiritual equivalent to those memes of Kelsey acting normal versus the real Kelsey, and she's so crazy, love her. Remember Beyonce and Sasha Fierce? What was that? There's not a whole lot separating the normal musician from the onstage persona versus the name of the album and so on. She's unbelievably talented, obviously, but could we at least get a weird accent or something for Sasha? Dabbling with slightly different elements of pop music and shooting your photos and videos in black and white because it supposedly pissed off her fans doesn't really constitute a brand new identity, in my opinion. Supposedly, the alter ego gave her courage to feel free and sexy, which... good for Beyonce for doing what she needed to feel comfortable in her own skin. I would hate to look like her and be able to sing and dance and have a lot of money. And this is something that is honestly relatively common. When a singer wants a little bit of an edge or they start drifting into another subgenre, they'll throw on a new name tag, say, this person can say all the things that they previously couldn't, but it's really not that deep. Christina Aguilera used Xtina to be more bold and empowered. Britney Spears explicitly stated that she became Mona Lisa when she felt like being mean. Early on in the days of U2's touring, Bono became The Fly, Macfisto, and Mirrorball Man, and it was literally just because the man wanted an excuse to wear silly outfits and makeup. One of the greatest cases is Mariah Carey creating Bianca, the supposed evil version, bad version of Mariah, who was brunette. She really pulled out all the stops for this one. Go girl, give us nothing. But you and I know that many artists have done much better than this. Even though conceptually Slim Shady is basically angry Eminem, which is just Eminem 99% of the time regardless, at least that one has some serious staying power. With the background of there being a ton of Slim Shady references in songs, skits, etc., I could say, did you hear the new Slim Shady? And people would know what I'm talking about. Imagine if I tried doing that with Mona Lisa, Mirrorball Man, and Bianca. Prince made his own symbol, and that was just his name for a while, or the artist formerly known as Prince objectively rules on its own too, but similar to there being a lot of Slim Shady content throughout Eminem's career, Prince having the symbol and the alternate title, it adds to the realism of it all. Shock G from Digital Underground had a character called Humpty Hump who wore wild clothing and Groucho glasses. Included in the group's press kit was a fictional backstory explaining that Humpty Hump's real name was Edward Ellington Humphrey III, and he wore the Groucho glasses after burning his nose in a deep fryer accident. This is what I'm looking for. The whole concept of an alter ego becomes much more captivating when there's an actual story being told. Janelle Monáe and her android character, Cindy Mayweather, was the culmination of 3 years of work, 2 different conceptual projects, plans for graphic novels, films, Broadway tours, and inspirations from horror thriller legends like Hitchcock to science fiction masterpieces like Fritz Lang's Metropolis. This and other more conceptual alter egos like, say, David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust can actually shift what direction the art is going, and that's what we're discussing next. One artist that absolutely refuses to be defined by one thing is the Harajuku Barbie herself, Nicki Minaj. Nicki's history with alter egos goes against what we usually see. In fact, the very first rap Nicki wrote was under her alter ego Cookie, one she created to deal with the turmoil she faced at home. Cookie's the name, chocolate chip is the flavor, suck up my style like a cherry lifesaver. While originally a tool to help her cope with the hardships of life, these alter egos grew to become an intentional, stylistic choice, developing their own personalities and backstories, yet all culminating in one artist with one of the most diverse and extensive rap careers of all time. Nicki Minaj isn't exactly someone known for being afraid to show her true self, so in her case, it's more that she's such a larger-than-life artist that she uses her many alter egos to be every artist. By separating her many styles and personality traits into separate alter egos, she allows herself to be the incredibly complex artist that she is, while giving her songs their own personality. Literally. It also allows her to experiment even more with her styles visually as well, something we all know to be an extremely important form of expression for Nicki. The woman has around 15 alter egos ranging from the coquettish Harajuku Barbie to cunning and dangerous Chun-Li, all the way to the female version of Lil Wayne. They even interact with each other, like in Monster, which sees Nicki's alter ego, the rash, gay Englishman Roman Zelensky, tying up and terrorizing fellow alter Barbie. You might be familiar with Roman from his appearance on Roman Holiday. He also famously led Roman's Revenge, featuring fellow alter ego enjoyer Eminem. Here we see how Roman, and all of her alter egos to an extent, represent power, specifically the power to say whatever she feels needs to be said. When she opens Roman's Revenge with, "I am not Jasmine, I am Aladdin," yes, that's our first hint that this isn't Nicki but Roman, but it's also a declaration that she cannot be imprisoned by the labels others give her because she knows who she is. By giving her anger a name, she allows it and herself autonomy, making whatever she's expressing that much more real. Okay, so we've gotten past all the defining and, well, actuallying, and are now onto what you're mostly thinking of when we say musician alter ego. That is, your emo Garth Brooks, your Snoop Lions, and your Mariah Carey grunge rock bands. These are the alter egos born out of the desperate need to create, but feeling trapped by one's own name and image. But for a lot of these, there's definitely a reason they don't want their big name attached to these projects. I honestly feel for Garth Brooks, the epitome of a good old country boy in the time of Nirvana and raging against the very machines that made artists like Garth Brooks stars in the first place. The tide was turning, and that can be a very inspiring and scary thing. It also isn't too strange for a country singer to have an interest in rock, but something about seeing Garth Brooks trade in his Wrangler jeans for a black fringe wig is something you just can't prepare for. The music itself is underwhelming in comparison to the abrupt image change. It's mostly deflated, country-tinged rock songs and one political anthem that manages to say absolutely nothing at all, except that Garth Brooks can do awful things with a get-together sample. Another questionable switch-up is Snoop Dogg adopting the alter ego / name change of Snoop Lion, which is at least a little bit more believable. In an interview with The Guardian, Snoop says, "I don't think it could have worked through rap because of my branding. I branded Snoop Dogg to be what he is, and it's too late to change the brand." So that's why Snoop Dogg had to change his entire name and image to make music about smoking weed. Jokes aside, Snoop definitely does try to touch on other more serious topics on this album, like climate change, but he does it with lines like, "All the pollution in this world, me just can't stand it. Global warming makes the whole world panic." So yeah, it's pretty much exactly what you're imagining. On Alter Egos That Could Have Been, we see the story of Mariah Carey, who sought to put out an alt-rock album under the name Chick. Columbia denied this and had Clarissa Dane re-record her parts for an official release. Mariah says the album sound is almost kind of a girls group Green Day kind of moment, so that sounds promising. Mariah is still fighting for the release though, so hopefully this isn't the last we hear from Bianca. Speaking of Green Day, do you know Green Day had a new wave side project called The Network? In 2003, the members of Green Day donned masks to record their futuristic, apocalyptic, Devo-flavored album Money Money 2020, which had its follow-up fittingly in the actually apocalyptic year of 2020, titled Money Money 2020 Part 2, We Told You So. There are a ton of famous and less famous examples of this throughout music history. Paul McCartney had an instrumental pseudonym, Percy Thrillington, and also an electronica duo called The Fireman. Prince recorded as a woman named Camille. We've got Hank Williams as a religious songwriter named Luke the Drifter, and so on. Clearly, alter egos can actually do a lot when it comes to expression for the artists of the world. You've seen the variety of different ways that musicians can utilize these unique personas, but there will always be innovators pushing the boundaries even more. Somebody like Prince, who we've mentioned in every other section of this video, was so musically prolific that he created other bands and projects where the music was being performed by other people, but Prince was still basically behind everything. It's like an alter ego by proxy, like some puppet master having other human beings act as his alter ego in a way. It's wild. Or you can look at the Andy Kaufman-esque social experiment from Lady Gaga, her character Joe Calderone, that would terrorize award shows and make everybody uncomfortable. It's fascinating how she was able to shine a spotlight on how creepy men can be at these kinds of events by being a woman, dressing up as a man, and acting like a man. Genius. And with the rise of artificial intelligence, I'm sure you'll start to see much more stuff like this concept, but long before it became the norm, Damon Albarn made a virtual band in Gorillaz with fictional members who had their own backstories and personalities, while simultaneously being a part of one of the biggest English rock bands of all time. As the world grows more disconnected through social media and TikTok filters that make you look like you skinned a Kardashian, I can't wait to see the next iteration of alter egos. Will they make us more disillusioned than ever, or will they make a statement on this furthering isolation and content burnout? Hey, thank you for watching that video. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at RenshawHS. You can buy my merch, support my Patreon, and thank you again. I'll see you soon.